Hello, everybody. Welcome to Two Unholy Healers. This is our second episode, and today we're talking about crazy stuff clients say. And I'm Karen Lee, and I'm here with Colleen O'Brien, and we are going to have a little bit of a chat about crazy stuff clients say and crazy stuff that we have said along the way as well. So welcome, Colleen.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And I'm glad you said crazy stuff we have said as well, because I will readily admit that I'm really bad at remembering what my clients say. Once the session is over, I'm like, hey, okay, session over, and I will move on. And I feel badly, when clients come for a follow-up appointment, they're like, oh, remember last time we worked on this and this and
Yeah.
this? And I'm like, okay, that's great, but where are you now, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm working with who's in front of me now. What's the energy you got now, right?
Yes. Yes.
But when I'm a client, I'm super self-interested. So I'll remember that
Yeah.
stuff. Or if I'm
Exactly.
observing somebody, like when I'm teaching and stuff, like if I'm observing somebody, sometimes those things will straight be like, wow, I'm going to remember that. So I
Yeah.
just want to, set everybody's expectation that most of the crazy stuff that I will be talking about is my own stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's true. And it's interesting because this is one of the differences I've noticed between people or clients that I've had who have been to like therapy and traditional type counseling type sessions tend to come into a session wanting to talk a lot because that's the structure of those types of things. Whereas other people who haven't really maybe had that sort of more traditional type of facilitation come in for a healing session are really willing to just kind of give you a couple of sentences and go run with that, and then you can really support the client in guiding them energetically to where they need to be. Whereas if there is a lot of talking, it can sometimes just distract you from getting to those deeper issues. But it's interesting to see the different way people present when they come to you based on perhaps their experience of the past. And I guess our job as the facilitator is to guide them as to what path to take so that you can help them in the best way as well.
Right, because sometimes, yeah, I will be like, I'll just be intuitively listening, and I'm like, all right, are we going to get to it? Like, where are we go? And sometimes I'll just get that message, like, just listen, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to come forth, but this is how
Yes.
they're going to feel comfortable to get to it. And then there are other people who, they're just like, oh, I don't know, whatever. You do the intuitive scan, you say something that my logical brain is like, there's no way, this is it. And then you just be like,
Yeah.
well, if I said this, does that resonate? And they go, oh yeah. Like I just
Yeah.
like they just know immediately it's true, and you're like,
Yes.
never ever would I have come up with that if I was like in a
Yeah.
traditional therapy situation,
Yeah.
because it just seems so I want to say out of left field, but you got it. I guess that's a baseball term.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't
Yeah.
play baseball, that doesn't make sense. Because it reminds me, what did I say the other time we were talking about Monday morning quarterbacking? And you just went, oh, yeah, I have no idea what that is. Because you don't know American football. So
Exactly.
be aware that,
But
hey,
the but the left field thing is more widespread. Like I know the term, I get the gist of what it means. I have no idea really what that means in terms of baseball, but I have
okay.
heard the term. Whereas the quarterback one, no, hadn't heard that one before. Like I've heard of a quarterback, no idea what they do though.
Perfect.
Um,
Perfect. Yes,
So
good.
I guess the other thing too, I guess, is when clients come and say things like, I've never told anyone this before, or I can't believe I just told you that, or this is going to be so terrible. And the interesting thing is, and like I've been in situations too, and I'm sure you have, Colleen, where you've worked with someone and thought, oh my God, I'm going to tell them the most horrible thing about myself. And then it's just like nothing. And after the session, it's like, oh, why was I so worried about that? And I think as um, healers, we hear people say this stuff and it's really not that bad. But because there's so much pain and so much, you know, wounds, so much energy around it, it feels like the worst thing on earth for them, where it's really like it's just another belief system. It's something that they did that, you know, maybe wasn't their best choice, but they did it. And, there's no judgment for that. And I think that, having that awareness, in fact, I'll share a little story about, I did the UN Creator instructor training a couple of weeks ago, which was very exciting. And we got to work in pairs to do a couple of the exercises. And one of the ladies worked on me first. And we tapped into a situation that from, over 30 years ago, this guilt that I'd had about leaving this relationship, which I'd worked on numerous times. But she said, no, not the guilt about the relationship ending with that man, but the guilt that you felt towards the children, because there were children involved he had children in that relationship. And I went, oh my God, I've never even thought about that. So this brought up all of these feelings about things that I felt bad and guilty about in that relationship. And because I was kind of judging on myself a little bit. And then interestingly, when we swapped and I got to work on her, she had so many of the same or very similar issues in a past relationship. And I just completely held space for this lady. I had no point of view or judgment for whatever she was going through. It's just like, yeah, I'm just holding space for this lady. We're just doing our thing. And when I thought about it later, I went, wow, I had so much space and compassion for this lady. I did not have that for myself in that same situation. So that was a real eye-opener for, how we can be there for others, and then we don't sometimes give ourselves that same compassion.
Well, and again, given the order that you guys do, like that you were the client first,
Yeah.
how much of the fact that you even just kind of neutralized the energy around that past story allowed you to be energetically more open to hold space for her as well.
Yeah.
And I also love how the law of attraction is in action there with the two of you,
I
right?
know,
Like
right?
how
It
the
was
two of you were,
spot on. Yeah, spot on.
Brilliant,
Crazy.
brilliant. Yeah, yeah, because you really do, it really does have to, you really have to put your own judgments aside. I recall having watched a session where I was the instructor, so I was facilitating, and we were working on money, and the client said, "Oh, I'm not stupid enough to be rich." And I was like, "What?" Like it just seemed like, you mean like that you're not smart enough to be rich? Because that was my point of view.
Yeah.
And this was like, like if I'm rich, I got to be like this particular person who is, in the media and who doesn't come across as being terribly bright. And I don't want to be like that. So if I don't want to be like that, that means that I can't have this other quality that this person also has. And I was like, yikes. Yeah. Like what a crazy reason to make yourself not rich. Right? It's like, well,
Yeah.
why not just choose not to be stupid? No, you got to choose not to be like, yeah. So it was a really interesting belief system, and
Yeah.
again, your subconscious isn't really hindered by logic of that. It's just like, nope, I'm going to make sure that you get the solution. But to kind of hear it articulated that way, because I had never put those two together, it just was sort of like this, like mind, like.
Yeah, right. And working with theta healing especially, or anyone who's working with anything to do with beliefs and subconscious beliefs and the mind and that sort of thing, the subconscious mind has a whole lot of crazy going on in the background, but it's all based on survival. Like for some reason we have needed those beliefs at some point in our life to survive, to feel safe, to get our needs met in some way. So the mind thinks that it is perfectly doing the best thing to support you. And then the mind doesn't have a point of view about whether the belief is positive or negative as we would identify it. It's just like, no, this is the belief that kept you safe. So as we go through the work, through theta healing or whatever it is, we start to release a lot of those limiting beliefs, like that one where it helped that person for some reason that, not being wealthy meant that they would not be stupid. So that's a great thing in the mind's perspective, like
right.
Who wants to be stupid?
It was a super effective solution.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to be stupid, and let's not be rich. Like
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So it makes complete sense to the mind, and that's the beauty of this work, is that we can start sifting through that. We can start releasing those beliefs that just don't serve us anymore, and replace them with beliefs that are more in alignment with what we want to create in the future. And man, that makes such a difference.
It really does. But as healers, we really have to foster that trust, right? So that
Yes.
our clients really can be allowed to say the crazy shit.
Yes.
Because if they don't articulate it, if they don't let us in to help them out, then
Yeah.
that energy is just going to stay there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it really takes a lot of self-compassion, like you were saying. You didn't have compassion for yourself to be able to heal that. But to be able to hold that space, to be that healer.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of memes out there and stuff that a healer doesn't actually heal you. The healer really just allows you to remember how to realign yourself, how to heal
Yeah.
yourself. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's
Exactly.
really a gift. It's really very sacred. As irreverent as we are, and as much as we're like, hey, let's get a real clickbaity title and talk about the weird, crazy stuff. It
Yeah.
really is very, almost like a sacred duty. To
Absolutely.
allow people to show their wounds,
Yeah.
to be that
Yeah.
vulnerable, to talk about the stuff that they may have never talked about, or were too afraid to admit to anyone else.
Yeah. And I think that actually leads into another aspect of this conversation. And this is where, when you're in that space as a facilitator and you're holding that space for your client to get to those deeper aspects, you have to be unwavering in that. You have to um, hold that space so beautifully without fear. And I'll give you an example of this. So I had a class a while back where I was teaching one of the theta healing classes, and one of the techniques in that, for people that don't know, is called digging, something where you kind of go down to get to some of those, or identify some of those deeper beliefs. But that can sometimes bring up emotions, fears,
A lot of
people,
trauma.
a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
trauma.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
all of those things. And these two people that were working together, and this is not just these two, but it's happened in other things as well, but it's a great example. So one of them got to this point of, quite a lot of emotion come up, and the person that was being the practitioner kind of pulled back, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. And it's like, no, you have to stay with the client. No matter what they go through, no matter what level of trauma, craziness, whatever comes up, you have to be able to hold that space for them. Because when you pull back, what you do is they feel a disconnect, and it feels like you're not supporting them anymore. So that
Because
can
you're
bring
not.
up,
You're
yeah, you're
absolutely
not.
not.
You've left. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it might be because your own fears. It might be because you've had some of your own trauma and you feel someone else going there, and you're like,
It's
oh,
a
hey, I
very
don't want to deal
human
with that.
thing to do. It's a
It
very, very
is.
human
It is.
thing to do. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So, yeah, to be able to hold that space for your client, no matter what they're going through, and guide them even deeper if necessary, like show them the way out. And the way out is to go through those emotions, not to pull back from them. And if you do pull back, it can trigger their belief systems about not feeling supported, not feeling connected. People always leave me. I feel abandoned, all of that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
So,
It just reinforced what may already be
yes,
there. Like, oh my God,
yes,
I talked about the big scary thing. It wasn't safe for me to talk about. And then look what happened. Like, here's more
yeah,
evidence
yeah,
of, like, it's not okay for me to let this go. It's not okay for
exactly.
me to look at it. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So I thought that was such a great example of, and this was appropriate. I'm not judging this lady. This is appropriate in a class because people are learning. And so when something comes up like that, that's a learning moment. That's something that you can talk about later and say, hey, here's what's happening. Here's how you can change that. Here's something that you can do different, because here's what's happening when you do that. And to let people know that it's okay to allow people to go through their their trauma, their problems, their emotions, their feelings. Like in the external world, it's not always okay to just break down and start sobbing in the middle of nowhere, or in the middle of the bank or something like that. Like it's like, oh, that's not, that people can get a bit judgy,
Right.
But
or not know what to do. Like, I just remember, guys that I've dated, and if I start crying, they're like, okay, I don't know if I hug you or if that's going to mean that I'm going to get slapped. Like it's like the freeze instinct is right. Like, tell me what to do. I don't know what's happening.
Yes. Where's the manual for how to
or anybody who's like, just wait, you're not like, what's going on? You're emoting. I don't know what to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So and this is the beauty of doing this work, is it does bring up our own stuff, and then we can clear that so that we're in a better place to help and support people next time. And to be in the classes and the things, if you're doing swaps with people and that, to allow these things to come up and learn from them all, because no one's perfect. No one gets it right the first time and all the time. But it is a beautiful journey of exploration and discovery.
Yeah. And really just loving people where they are, right? When you were telling that story, it reminded me of the time I was just an absolute bitch. It was a total healing crisis. I was doing a swap over the phone. Somebody hit on the bottom belief for me, and it was related to not being able to be myself. And I was not. She's like, "Oh, do you want to change that?" And I was like, "No, I want to keep that." And she was like, "Well, this is it. This is the really one." I was like, "Oh, session over." I hung up on her. I was just like, we are not doing this today. I was so upset. I went for like this 2-hour walk outside, and then finally I was just like, yeah, okay, like, stop being a drama queen. Like, this is right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then of course, because I'm also a theta healer, I could do that on myself. But she was really the one that had guided me to get to that point. But I was not ready to let it go, and I just threw a temper tantrum about it.
Yeah. And that happens sometimes, when you're facilitating, that you just get to that point where you push, and it's like, oops, did I go too far? But generally, I mean, we have that thought and we can have a laugh about that, but it's generally not too far, because I always trust implicitly that we go when we need to go. So that lady who was facilitating you, she went to where you needed to go. Now, it may have turned out unexpectedly in that you hung up and walked off, but you allowed yourself your time to process that and then come back and change that. So that was just the way you did it. So there's no judgment about, oh, it didn't happen in the session or it didn't go well. It's like, no, this is what was required because this was how you chose to process it. So
right. And the fact that I had such a reaction to it really was a big indication of like, yep, it's on the right track. That's exactly what it is, So yeah.
Crazy.
I know. Oh my goodness. So I think that's a good place to transition, unless you've got any other stories or crazy things that are popping up for you.
That feels like about it. I know that we both have something that we'd like to share for what we've got coming up, and we will have another podcast in a couple of weeks. I think we haven't actually set a date yet, but we will put that in the. We were chatting too much about other stuff before we got on today, so we will put that in the group. But meanwhile, Colleen, what have you got coming? What have you got coming up, or what would you like to share?
Well, I wanted to share that I have a book that I wrote since our last episode. It was actually inspired by our last episode, and I went the self-publishing route. So I was really it came together really quickly, and it's out there in the world, and it is called Reasons You Are Not a Better Healer. It's the limiting beliefs that are preventing you from being the successful, effective, and profitable healer you can be. And so that is available on Amazon. It's available on all the Amazon marketplaces as an ebook. It's available on many of them also as a print on demand if you wanted an actual physical copy. But know that when you buy a physical copy, it takes a little while because they actually have to make the book. So, I've uploaded this book last week. I still haven't gotten a hard copy of it myself because I'm waiting for them to to actually create the book.
Yeah.
But it is available there for you. And again, it came out of our last episode that when we talked about misconceptions of being a healer, there were a couple topics there that I was, ooh, hey, these are really good. Like, let me do this. And I was even reading, one of the samples just yesterday. And like the first two beliefs that are listed, I was like, hey, I have those. How on earth did I publish a book of limiting beliefs and I didn't clear the first two limiting beliefs that I listed?
Well, I have to say that I've had a sneak preview of the first couple of chapters. It's amazing. Colleen is very good at identifying those like lists of beliefs that are connected to this sort of thing. And I also muscle tested the first couple of chapters, and I had like a good half a dozen that I had to change after that. So yeah, it's very, very good.
Yeah, it's not a very long book, but it is a very dense book. And I know there are some people who, particularly if you're working on yourself, it's nice not to have to start from scratch. It's nice to kind of have some ideas and some inspirations that then you can see where that's going to take you to go. So I was just really pleased. It really, came together really fast and wanted to be out there in the world. So that's what I've been up to. And it's like I said, it's available nearly worldwide right now. So that's my thing that I wanted to share.
Yeah, excellent. That's amazing. And everyone should jump on that. That's going to be very, very, very beneficial.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll put a link in the comments, or at least the title, because then you can search for it on your local Amazon marketplace.
Beautiful.
Cool. And, so what have you got coming up, Karen?
What I have got coming up is a series of special topic classes, and these will be available also as programs after the class. The first one, the Intuition Accelerator, which I did a couple of weeks ago, that is about to go onto my website for people to now purchase as its own little program within the next day or two. But the next one that I have coming up that you can actually join in live is the Secret Language of Money. And this is going to be fun. I'm very excited to share this because I'm going to be talking about the 7 money diseases. So these are the different ways that we block our money flows and the related belief systems that are connected to those diseases and how they show up in your life. We've got a whole heap of stuff where we're really going to dive deep, do a whole lot of energy clearing around money. I've done a lot of different money workshops for quite a while because when we're talking money and spirituality and healing and all that, these are topics that come up all the time. Developing intuition, starting your business, how to work with clients, like all of these things that we're going to be talking about more in the coming weeks. These are all the top topics. So yes, I will put a link or whatever for this one in the group afterwards as well.
And I'm super excited about this. When Karen mentioned this before we went live, I was like, sign me up. Like, yes. Like, so I'm going to be there. I hope you guys are going to be there too. Even if I got to get up in the middle of the night, because Karen and I are in different time zones. I'm really excited about this. It's going to be juicy. It's going to be good.
Excellent. I'm just trying to figure out what the time zone will be for you, but I'm not quite sure.
We'll figure it out. It's all good. And I'm excited too that the Intuition Accelerator is available. So for those who weren't able to get it live, because you had mentioned it at our last episode, that is going to be available as a product too as well. So that's super exciting. Yay.
That will actually go on my website today. So that'll be available to everyone. And awesome. All right, cool. Lovely. Thank you everyone for being here, and for those who will be here and watch it later. We are super grateful for all of you for connecting, for being part of our page. And we would also love you to send questions. If you want to talk about a particular topic, something that you're interested in, something you'd like to know more about, please jump in, because we would love to hear from you.
Yes, absolutely. So stay tuned. We'll keep you updated on the page about when our next episode is coming up. And thank you so much again for joining us today.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.